What should schools teach? Now, that's something I'm sure everyone has an opinion on, and there is some expert data compiled by researchers like Alfie Kohn on how people best learn and how best to teach them, which is well worth looking into. For the purposes of this video, I want to share some of my thoughts from a philosophical perspective on where I'd want to start deciding what kinds of things children should learn when they go to school. If I was to design a school from scratch, I'd want to start by looking at the features of a human being, and before any considerations of academic subjects, begin by helping them master those. We all have a body, a mind, and emotions.
So first of all, I think it would be really important that any enlightened school would first teach people how to make proper use of their body, teach them about their organs, what each of them do, and how to take care of them, how to eat well, how to breathe properly and healthily, and how to stay hydrated. Lots of people suffer from back pain, for example. So things like how to take care of the long-term health of their back and spinal column. Far too much sitting in school. You'd want to teach people how to stretch safely and get their blood flowing.
Get them actively involved in looking after the long-term health of their heart and their respiratory system.
If you can teach people these things from a young age and get them involved in participating in the kinds of exercises that will maintain their long-term health, then you can set patterns for life and we'll soon see a massive reduction in the chronic health problems that we suffer from in Western societies today.
Next, you'd want to look at the mind, what the functions of the mind are, and how to use them correctly. Currently, there's no real critical thinking studies in school, at least not as a standard fixture for all students. And yet people try to convince us of things all of the time. We're constantly bombarded with messages from friends, parents, teachers, politicians, the media, to believe this position, that position, or the other one.
And so it's really important that everyone is equipped with the skills they need to evaluate these claims and how to find out if they're true or false.
Those skills encompass critical thinking, logic, how to reason, and how to evaluate evidence. We should teach the scientific method, philosophy,
epistemology, which is the study of what we can know and how we can know it, how to make a case, how to analyse an argument for whether it's true or false,
how to identify, debunk, and avoid logical fallacies. This wouldn't just be important for the defence of our own minds, but it would also give us a common language to talk to one another about critical issues. Nowadays, even if you can spot a logical fallacy, half of the time the person you're talking to won't necessarily understand what you mean when you point it out. So it's important that everyone has these skills for their own mental hygiene and to help us all have more productive conversations when it comes to matters of what's true and what's false.
Next of all, enlightened schools would teach people good emotional handling. Because let's face it, more than perhaps anything else, our emotions govern the quality of our lives. We'd want to teach people how to process unpleasant emotions, how to seek support and empathy. Empathy can be a great healer, and that would give way to workshops where young people could practice communication skills, how to assert their needs, how to self-advocate and make a case for their position politely without attacking the other person, and also how to listen well and show their understanding of other people. If children have personal problems in school, they're not going to be able to focus on their regular schoolwork and the other things they are being taught.
And so it's critical that we equip them with the skills to deal with the effects of difficult situations in day-to-day life.
So far we've got how to handle the body, how to handle the mind, how to deal with our emotions, which gives way to social skills. And to form good relationships, people have to have a good, healthy sense of self-esteem, which is something that the practice of could also be developed in schools. When it comes to traditional learning, our schools have perhaps an overemphasis on fact learning things by heart and writing them out again in an exam or essay.
Now that most of what a person could ever learn is available with a few clicks of a mouse, the talent of retaining information is less of a critical skill than it's ever been before. Not to say it's not useful, but it's not as useful as learning good practices for handling information in the relevant discipline.
Aside from reading and writing and arithmetic, not many hard skills are taught, but in the best schools, children aren't taught simply facts about history, they're taught how to think like historians, how to think like geographers,
and so forth. A lot of the work that's done in school isn't very meaningful in the sense that it's work for its own ends. It doesn't produce anything durable or of value to anyone else. But people are much more likely to retain what they're learning and take pride in their work when it's applied towards a certain real-world goal that's retainable. When they're actually creating something, not just filling in a worksheet that's going to get marked and then thrown away. It would be nice if the lines between conceptual learning and practical learning were blurred a little bit more, so you could learn about geometry by doing woodwork, for example.
It's a real tragedy when you consider the fact that a lot of people graduate from school but can't even find a minimum wage job. Now, I'm not one of these people that believes that the purpose of education is simply to prepare people for the workforce. That's not the case. Education is its own end, and schools should encourage people to become lifelong learners. Having said that, 12 to 14 years is long enough to become a concert pianist, an electrical engineer, a doctor, or any of the most high-paid professions in society. I do believe that some of the time that people spend in school should be handed over to helping them learn skills that translate to real-world success. The more skills that people have, the more options they have when they graduate for deciding their own life and deciding their own destiny. If you don't have any vocational skills, you're liable to end up taking whatever job you get for whatever low wages offered to you and in whatever kind of poor working conditions, possibly with crap bosses who don't really respect you. And because you don't have any options, you won't really have much say in how your adult life will play out. Even handing over 5 hours a week to helping people identifying their strengths and giving them a chance to practice practical skills, whether it's woodwork, plumbing, electronics, playing a musical instrument, accounting, economics, mechanics, how to teach well, carpentry, marketing, project coordination, cookery, catering, making clothes, fixing clothes, auto maintenance. All of these things.
Students should be facilitated in learning the practical skills they're interested in learning, or even going out to gain mentorship from people who already work in those industries in the real world and have those skills to share. They can get the satisfaction of feeling like they're actually being helpful while they're being taught. Finally, a little bit of day-to-day housekeeping life skills.
How to manage finances, how to fill out a job application, how to balance your checkbook, how to write an application for funding or grants, and other things that come out of that sort of heading that help people live a self-responsible life. I know some of these things are taught in schools nowadays, but they're not really taken very seriously. They tend to be activities that are given a little bit of attention, but aren't really given due respect because they're not academic.
Now, these are just my thoughts off the top of my head.
But I'd love to hear more from you. If there's something that you think that schools should teach, please leave a comment below.
Check out my other video, Anti-Empirical Education, for more on the drawbacks of the current education system and how they could be fixed.
If you're lamenting the fact that you weren't taught good communication skills or social skills or emotional handling skills at school, I do have another channel which you can find at youtube.com/enrichyourlife1 that is full of self-help videos on improving your life in all those kinds of ways.
And they're all up there for free, so you've got no excuses not to check it out. Happy learning!